Harvest organizations have merged to become one regional food bank serving the Northland. Second Harvest Northern Lakes in Duluth and Second Harvest North Central in Grand Rapids have merged to become Second Harvest Northland, becoming the second largest in Minnesota. The food banks have seen 30 to 40% increase in demand for food after pandemic funds were eliminated and after operating side by side for more than 40 years. In 2022, the two nonprofits looked into becoming a powerhouse for the region by increasing efficiency and reducing overhead while serving 70,000 food insecure neighbors.
Really wanted to put the people that would be most affected, which is our neighbors who are food insecure, at the center of our decision making. So we really wanted to make sure the impact was great, that it would have, long-lasting, positive impact.
The new regional food shelf has a combined board with 7 members of each from the 2 Second Harvest locations. The goal is to have geographic representation of the 15 counties being served.